Welcome. We are joined by Georgia head coach Kirby Smart, along with student athletes Stetson Bennett and Kavan Bulliard. Following an open statement from Coach Smart, we'll take questions for our student athletes first. But Coach, the floor is yours for an opening statement.
Yes, it's Javon Bullard. I want to make sure we said that correctly. But these two young men are special to our program. They've done a tremendous job. I don't know that we have two players that embody toughness more than these two guys. Bullard's had injuries throughout the year, has done an incredible job. Stetson speaks for himself, the way he leads, the way he prepares. His mental makeup is such of a quarterback that believes he can make every throw, and what he did tonight was truly amazing. I mean, probably had his best game of his career, in my opinion, with some of the checks he made, some of the decisions he made, just really elite. I want to thank our fans for traveling all the way out here. I hope they understand the message I'm about to say. They can't take it for granted. You know, you can't take opportunities like this for granted, and they showed up in full force, and they better never get tired of it because we need them here. We need them to back us, and you can't become complacent as a fan, and we can't become complacent as coaches. I'd also like to give a shout out to my dad who wasn't able to make it, and he and my mom are back home, and I didn't say anything about them earlier, and I miss them, and I wish they were here to celebrate it with my family and myself, but I know it was the right decision. So I love you, Dad, and love you, Mom. With that, I'll open it up.
Thanks, Coach. Again, we will start with questions for our student athletes first. We'll start over here on our far left.
Donnell Suggs, the Atlanta Voice. This question's for Javon. Have you ever played a better game than you played today?
I can't really answer that right now until I look at the tape, but it's a blessing to be up here speaking in front of you all tonight.
Next question from back here on our right.
Stetson, if you can go back a few years, signing day, you were getting ready to sign with Louisiana Lafayette. Georgia called you. You ended up signing with them. What would you have said if someone at the time told you what would happen since then?
I mean, I wouldn't believe them. I don't know. I would have been like, good thing I signed with Georgia, you know.
Take our next question from right behind.
Question for Stetson. Coach Smart calls that timeout when you're coming out of the game. Just what was the emotions like in that moment walking off the field?
Yeah. The huddle, because I told all the guys, they're like, what are we doing? Why don't we have a play? And I was like, well, they're going to let me walk out of here. And but in the huddle, you know, just as simple as it is, just one last huddle with the guys, you know. And that was special. And coming off seeing Coach Smart, that was really cool, and I appreciate that.
It's the first time he's ever walked off that I was hugging him.
Yeah.
Go right here to our right in the middle aisle.
For Stetson, right down the middle here. What plays did you check off that Coach Smart was alluding to, and do you think this was your best game?
I mean, there were a few ones, just what he was saying, some that we had shots where we checked to a run because the look wasn't there, and a few where, you know, actually the one before the touchdown to AD, before the half, I checked that a post, I actually missed that one, but you know, there's some other ones in there. And as far as best game, I don't know. I don't know. Again, I'm going to watch the tape. I'm going to enjoy watching this tape, and we'll see after that.
He saw a max blitz, and he beat the max blitz and ran for a first down in one of the biggest plays of the game, which takes a phenomenal athlete, and he knew what was coming, and he set the guy up. And he did a change of protection and made an elite throw. He schemed up a run and ran a midline run, which nobody runs. He ran for a touchdown because he's got a tackle that's like a tight end out there in Broderick. And when you got a quarterback that can do the protections and check things and know what the defense is doing, but yet still beat you with your feet, you got a high-level quarterback. And people have slept on Stetson Bennett for too long. He needs an opportunity to play for a long time at the next level.
Next question from the aisle right here to our slight left.
Hey, Stetson, there's people saying you're the best quarterback in Georgia history. just when you hear that, what does that mean to you to even be in that conversation?
I mean, there's so many different variables that go in, you know, scheme, players around you. I mean, you know, I've been with Monk for 3 years. We brought back pretty much the entire core of our offense from last year, so we were all clicking. So I don't know. We had a really good offense. It makes me proud, you know, of what I've accomplished when I hear that, because it means I've done some things right. But I don't know if it's accurate or not. You know, we've had I grew up watching Murray and Stafford and, you know, Shock and Green, and you know, who's to say those dudes were all, I mean, amazing.
Go back here to our far left in the back.
Stetson, I know you didn't want to talk about the NFL. This game was over. This game's over. Career's over. What do you want the NFL to know about you as they begin to scout you for that level?
I don't know. I've been here long enough. I'm sure there's some game tape. I don't know. I'm a hard worker, pretty good at football, smart, you know, but they'll see that. I don't know. That'll take care of itself. Today, we're national champs.
I'm going to go right here to our right in the middle.
This one's for Coach Smart and you, Stetson. Obviously, some roster things you can't predict, like quarterbacks transferring out and having a little bit of instability at the position. But kind of by necessity, you've been forced to develop some of the players on your roster, in addition to bringing in these top-level recruits. And I know football is a development game as much as it's a recruiting game, but, you know, where do you think in that balance this team falls? And, you know, how important was, you know, players getting better under you to being able to get back to this point of back-to-back titles?
Well, it was a big part. You know, you lost whatever it was, 15 draft picks, and however many portals. You guys have reported it over and over, and we didn't gain anybody. So the development part was super, super important. I'm going to tell you another important day was about 3 days from right now last year when he came in my office and he said, I'm trying to decide if I'm going to come back or ride off in the wind. He goes, I don't understand. Everybody's telling me that I should just ride off in the sunset and be the legendary quarterback that won a national title. He said, that's just not who I am. And he's like, I don't get it. Why should I do that when I have an opportunity to play again? Like why don't we go win it again? And, you know, I'm kind of thinking, well, that'd be nice, but we lost 15 draft picks. I mean, it might not be that easy this time. And he had full conviction that he wanted to come back and go opposite of the mainstream. Like all he wanted to do. He was here, I think, a year with Jake, and he knew that Jake had left early, and he brought it up to me, and he said, I want to play. Like, I want to go play football and prove to people that this is no fluke. We can do this. And he did everything he said he was going to do.
We're going to go back here on our left. Again, as a reminder, we're going to wrap up student-athlete questions first.
Hi, Stetson. Tonight your team did something that hasn't been done very often in the history of college football and hasn't been done in a number of years. So what's that feeling like for you to achieve that?
Yeah, I mean, it's special. You know, it seems like for the past 3 or 4 months we've been looking, you know, see if somebody could beat us, and we just, you know, ran out of games. Nobody could.
Next question over here on the aisle to our left.
Yes, Stetson, I know that it's tough to put things in perspective right away, but given the trajectory of your career and the ups and downs and leaving and coming back and fighting to be QB1 finally, and then having the success you've had last year and this year, how do you put it all into perspective? And do you feel like maybe you're kind of an example for all those other grinders out there that are facing the same battles?
You know, I don't know. I think the coolest thing to me is in 20 years when this is cool to us, we all come back and we're talking about how Bull intercepted that ball before the half and then I threw it 80 for a touchdown, right? That's the coolest thing because this team loves each other. I mean, when Coach Smart says he's never had a group like this, obviously I hadn't been in this, whatever. He's right. We love each other. Every single person on this team would do anything for each other. And, you know, it's a special group, man.
All right, we'll continue with questions. We are going to keep the student athletes up here. Please just let us know who your questions are for. We will address Coach now as well. So we'll take our next question from right over here on the side. Thank you.
Hey, this is for Javon. I know your days in Milledgeville weren't that long ago, but just a few years ago. Could you have then possibly envisioned the kind of stuff that you were doing out there in the first half tonight?
As a kid, you always dream of moments like this. And just to see those moments and accomplishments and things like that come true, it's just a surreal feeling. I'm extremely blessed to be in the position I am, and I just thank God for it every day.
Next question over here on our right.
This question is for Kirby. Kirby, two questions. First of all, as I understand it, Stetson would not be eligible to be in the College Football Hall of Fame because he's not an All-American. Is that a rule that should change? And secondly, have you had a chance to talk and connect with your father tonight?
I have not connected with my dad. I would love to. I feel bad I didn't take the opportunity when I had TV coverage to say something, but I know he was still watching then. He's probably in bed now. But I promise you, my dad doesn't need any accolades or pats on the back. He hates them. So he gave it to me honest. I can promise you that. But the Hall of Fame thing, I have no idea. I would like to say congratulations to Coach Rick, who got elected in the College Football Hall of Fame today, I think. And I texted him earlier and so happy for him. And he texted back immediately, kicked that ass tonight. And I knew he was behind us and really happy for him. But should this guy go in, that's a long time away. I think 20 years from now when he comes back, we'll be able to talk about that. But again, I don't know those prerequisites. I know he's got GOAT status in Athens, Georgia forever.
Go next over here to Bill.
Coach, you mentioned not taking things for granted, and I know several players and yourself said that people doubted you this year. Now you'll go into a year where you'll probably be #1 across the board. So what's the biggest challenge for this program? And I know you don't want to talk about a three-peat, but going for that next one.
The biggest challenge is the same thing it is in all of the world we live in today. It's society we live in, entitlement. So the minute that you think you're entitled to winning games and you don't have to work hard, Coach Dykes and I were talking about it, the uphill battle for those guys is you think that you just inherit success. And I personally think next year is going to be a much, much more difficult challenge over this year because we had so many guys leaving last year. We got a lot of guys coming back. And unfortunately, this one right here is not. And tell you a quick story. I walked into they got a real nice head coach's office in that room over there. And I don't know if Stetson knows this, but I walked in and my 10-year-old son, Andrew's bawling. And I was like, oh, no, somebody's hurt his feelings. Somebody's thrown him down. Somebody's done something to him. I said, why are you crying? You're going to ruin my moment. He said, Stetson's leaving. Stetson's gone. I said, he's 25 years old. He's got to go. He's got to leave. But he's bawling about Stetson being gone. And, most of our team, we'll have a lot of guys coming back. We're going to lose some really talented guys, probably going to lose some juniors. But the disease that creeps into your program is called entitlement. And I've seen it firsthand. And if you can stomp it out with leadership, then you can stay hungry. And we have a saying around our place, we eat off the floor. And if you're willing to eat off the floor, you can be special.
Take our next question from over here on the left.
Yeah, Coach, Stetson's the first quarterback in Georgia history to throw for more than 4,000 yards. He's leaving. What's left in the room?
Well, we got some good quarterbacks in there. We got one that took his black jersey off and took hits all week so he could be Max. And Gunnar Stockton said, you know what? He said, Coach, take my shirt off. I'll take the hits. Brock Vandegrift is down there learning all year. Carson Beck got a lot of play time and has a lot of composure to come back and be able to play. So those three guys will get to battle it out, and they'll learn a lot. Coach Munkin does an unbelievable job in that room. And he did an unbelievable job with Stetson. And the fact that he's playing in an NFL offense where there's an NFL coordinator who coached NFL quarterbacks should tell people that, he's not going to get marbles in his mouth when he's got to spit out 7-word calls. And a lot of NFL teams like that.
Next question from over here on our right.
Kirby, you called the timeout when Stetson was coming out. You called the timeout on defense as well when those guys came out. Why was that important to you to do for both of those guys?
Because what they've done for this program. You know, I got really emotional, and these guys will tell you before the Ohio State game, and I don't know what got into me. I hadn't been that way in forever. I don't know if it was exhaustion, stress, anxiety, but I got pretty emotional, and I've held it together tonight for the most part. But that moment with the timeouts, seeing Stetson and those defensive players, because, you know, you guys don't see what they sacrifice. You don't see Bullard when his shoulder comes out and he won't put on a black jersey, and they're like, you can't go, Bullard, and he won't come out of practice. And he's still out there hitting people. His shoulder comes out tonight, his collarbone, and he just stays in the game. He's like, you know, he embodies what our culture is, which is toughness. And I have a very serious appreciation for that, because they do it for a university I love. And it means a ton to me when they sacrifice like that for our university.
Back over here to our left in the middle.
For Coach Smart or Stetson, you guys walked off the podium together, deep in conversation. What were you guys talking about after all you've been through?
I have no idea. Probably what he's going to do tonight and making sure he doesn't get anything that pappy. I mean, he is 25, so I can't.
Jesus. Come on.
Nobody got that joke, I guess, but compliance will make him pay it back.
Any other questions? We'll go to Ivan in the middle back.
Kirby, why was this so easy?
I don't have an answer for that. I think preparation was really good. I'll be honest with you. I was a little concerned that we were tired. I had apprehension about, you know, a couple of the practices we had, and Stetson's complaining to me about not having enough free time when we were in Athens. He didn't want to come in as early, and I thought, you got one chance to be legendary, and I'm not going to leave any regret out there. And did you not? And but I called some seniors in, and I said, look, guys, if y'all want me to cut back, I will. I don't know, you know, from TCU's perspective how things went. I did have a feeling that our offense had a really good plan. And as I watched the offense each day, I was like, we got a good plan. If we execute this plan, we're going to attack these guys, and we're going to be really aggressive. I was really proud of the defense after two outings that we did not perform well. You know, they have a first-round receiver. They got a Heisman Trophy quarterback that was in the finalist. And I thought our defense really performed well tonight when their backs against the wall.
Just a couple more here. We're going to go right here to the middle on the second row.
I can throw you under the bus now.
Stetson, can you talk about the fact that you guys had a tremendous performance? And what was the motivation that gave you the ability to save your best for the last?
Yeah, I mean, we had confidence in the plan. You know, we left some plays that we didn't even call. And we missed some shots, but, you know, it's the last one. I mean, it was the last one in this G. It was for the national championship. It was, you know, against, you know, Max, who was a great quarterback. And I know from New York. But, I mean, if you can't pull out your best in a game like this, or at least your best effort and best, you know, preparation, then, you know, maybe this isn't for you. But I don't know. Confidence in our guys, and everybody played really well.
Go next over here to the aisle.
Stetson, I think it was before Ohio State, you talked about, you know, that you like the idea that overlooked guys and under-recruited guys are going to look at your story. After a performance like this, you're really going to be one of those guys when they look at players who go from walk-on status to stardom, you're going to be at the top of that list. Have you thought about the kind of example you set for other guys with that?
No, I mean, you know, when I was growing up, you know, you still got to be the best, right? Like, it doesn't matter if you know, people doubt you. People doubt me. Well, you got to be good, right? I mean, you know, I always I enjoyed, you know, growing out my hair, wearing glasses, you know, and then going and winning the camp. Like, that was, you know, my thing. So, you know, if you are an under-recruited guy, you are yeah, soak that up, but, like, you still got to be the best. Go, like, be spiteful out there. Be a dog. Like, you got to. But, you know, hopefully in 15 years, there's some kid out there who's being a stud, and he remembers watching us play.
Next question right here, same area.
Yeah, Kirby Smart. What's the significance of this team going 15-0 mean to you, and why was this team able to do that?
The significance is no blemish. I don't know. I had 4 national championships at Alabama, and I don't think we had but one that was undefeated, and that one was really special. And it was like, sometimes it takes a loss to like galvanize and put your team in a spot to win. It did that last year. And it didn't take that. I always tell guys, do you have to take a loss to learn? I mean, why? Like it doesn't take that to learn that. And this team was special because they didn't have the flaw. They had, 2 games in which they came back in the fourth quarter, Missouri and Ohio State, with incredible comebacks and led by, Stetson in the offense. So it makes it more special, I think, when you come back and look at it, because when you want to compare teams, you'll say, hey, look at this team. There's some parts of me that think if the team last year played this year's team probably had more talent on it. But this year's team was different. Like, they just had this eye of the tiger. They weren't going to lose.
All the way on our left and the way back.
Yeah, Kirby, a person could watch a lot of college football and very seldom see the level that your team has attained several times this year and other times. Have you yourself thought about that at all? And it sort of admired where the caliber this team has reached?
I tell you what I admire is like the consistency with which they do it. I keep thinking that if you press the gas pedal too hard, you're going to run out of gas and they're going to be exhausted. I kept thinking maybe mentally the LSU game, and then, doing this and doing that, and then practicing this and going to Ohio State, emotional, just roller coaster. Maybe we're just out of gas, and they never run out of gas. So that goes a lot of credit to our strength and conditioning program, our training staff, our kids committing to actually doing that. Like they actually go out and hit each other in the 15th week of the season over and over again, and they enjoy doing it. That's just not normal in today's day and age. People want an easier pathway. So the coaching staff, Coach Monken and his offensive staff, Coach Schumann and his defensive staff, and then the special team staff, wow. I mean, every week they brought it. They brought a great plan. They brought a unique plan and made the most of the players that we have. We had a lot of guys injured during the year. The receiving corps just was, it's like a luxury these last 2 games. I'm looking out there, I'm like, we're throwing Arian out, AD out, Ladd out. It's like, you got all these weapons that really helps you to be successful. And that consistency in performance is hard to find. And I do admire the people that buy into what we sell in our organization.
Last question right here on our right, standing up here.
Kirby, kind of following that up, I know it takes great players and a lot of work on the right plan and everything, but can you just sort of step back and sort of say what it means to you to come back to Georgia and build a dominant program?
Yeah, it means everything. The University of Georgia meant so much to me. And I'll never forget the speech I heard Billy Payne give and how much Georgia meant. He met his wife there, and he gave back to the University of Georgia every way possible. He helped bring the Olympics. And then when you say all he wants to do is give back to a university that gave to him, I wouldn't be who I am today without the University of Georgia. I was lucky to get a chance to go to University of Georgia, and I want to give back to a place that has meant so much to my life and to my family's life and has given so much to us. So I don't think you can do that without honoring them with how you work and the standard you try to set. And that's my selling point. I do want to say one other thing before we finish. Is that the last question?
Yes.
I promised our guys, and y'all know I did this, and y'all tell them, somebody write a really good article, because our defensive scout team did the most unbelievable job. When we got TCU, I called them all in. I had the coaches meet with them. We made them meet and become this defense, and we said, we're going to do it better than they do it. You're going to watch tape. You're going to sit in here. You're going to learn how to do it. We had a guy, C.J. Allen, that was number 6. He did it as good as they did it. We had Collins be 57. He did it as good as they did it. We had guys be their guys and do their defense exactly right. And to the last day we were walking through in there, they were given an unbelievable look. That set our offense up for success. Scout team makes a difference. and we had a hell of a scout team to give these guys a look. Thank you guys so much for the coverage this year.
Congratulations. Thank you. That concludes our press conference.